Hello and welcome to another edition of Yoga and Meditation with me, Jane Stimson, librarian at the LSC Sci-Fair Library. Happy to be bringing you yoga and meditation from my living room while our programs are still all virtual. Remember that you can see all of our programs online at cyflib.info/events. We have events for all ages, from newborns on up. So thank you for joining me this evening. Tonight we are going to be starting with a little bit of breath work. And before we move into our physical practice, we are going to be tackling Crescent Pose this evening. Sometimes I like to kind of sync up what we're doing in class with the moon phases. And right now we are in a waxing crescent moon, so that's the inspiration for tonight. Crescent is also a really fantastic pose for building strength and balance. So we're going to take a few variations of that this evening. We will end, as usual, with meditation and an optional final rest pose. All right. So with that, if you are ready to begin, please join me in a seated position on your mat. We're going to be seated for the first few minutes, so I do want you to make yourself comfortable. So do what you need to do. Roll up the back of your mat and sit on your roll. If you would prefer to grab a blanket or a cushion to sit on, go ahead and grab something like that and just make yourself comfy. And when you have made yourself comfortable, just come to a sitting position, whatever that means for you this evening. Maybe it's a very easy one leg crossed in front. If you want to go for a lotus pose, go for it. It's a little early in class for that this evening. So take a comfortable sit. And then when you get there, we're actually going to leave eyes open just for a little bit. And we're just going to take 3 cleansing breaths to transition into this time and this phase of our practice. So when you're ready, take a deep inhale in through the nose. And then open your mouth and sigh it out. Let's do 2 more like that. Deep inhale through the nose. And exhale, sigh it out. Last one, deep inhale through the nose. Make this one your biggest one yet. Exhale, sigh. Excellent. So before our breath work, we're actually going to warm up with a nice little massage for the muscles on the sides of our ribs. This is an exercise I learned about in a yoga class from a teacher named Tiffany Cruikshank, and I really love doing this before we do any sort of really deep breathing or poses where we're sort of stretching and moving the torso around like we're going to be doing this evening. Okay, so to begin, make sure you're in your comfortable sit. And then take your right hand and take your right thumb and bring it somewhere to the middle of your right rib cage. And if you can, try and feel with your thumb in between the space between ribs so we get really into those intercostal muscles there. Now we're going to take a little teapot movement with the breath here. So on our inhale, we're going to dip to the left, kind of making a little teapot shape. And then we're going to exhale back to straight. Inhale down and exhale back to center. Now that dip does not need to be huge. You can make it really small and subtle, okay? So we're going to keep doing that for about a minute or so. Inhaling, leaning over, exhaling, coming back to center. And now I want you to start to move the thumb as you do this up and down your rib cage. And if it feels okay, really dig your thumb in there, almost like you're giving a little massage to those muscles. We are doing that. So just moving the thumb up and down the rib cage. Making sure you get all the way up and down. And then for our last few times, if you found a spot where it felt really good, return your thumb there. And stay in that spot for our last few dips to the side. Inhaling down, exhaling up. Let's take one last one. And then just return that right hand on top of your right knee. I want you to take a deep inhale here with the eyes closed. Deep exhale. See if you notice that right side of the rib cage feeling a little bit more open, almost like a fan that's opened. I hope you feel that. I definitely do. All right, so let's take the other side and let's even out. Left hand, left thumb, bring it somewhere to the middle of that left rib cage, and if you can, try and dig in there between the ribs, make some contact with those intercostal muscles. And then on an inhale, side dip to the right just a little bit, and exhale up. Inhale down, our little teapot. Exhale back up. And then as we do this, just start to move the thumb up and down the rib cage. I'm making contact, getting in there all the way up and down. And for our last few, when you find a spot that it felt really nice to be there, go ahead and return your thumb to that spot and take a last few rounds right there. Let's take one last one. Inhale down. Exhale, come on back. Nice. Return that left hand palm down on top of your knee, and then take a deep inhale. Hopefully you can take, exhale. Hopefully you can take a little deeper and more substantial inhale than at the very start, now that we've done that work to really kind of open up the ribs a little bit. So with that, let's do a little bit of guided counting with our breath. So take a moment to get really tall, right? So pull the waist out of the hips, pull the rib cage out of the waist, and the gaze is straight ahead. Eyes are soft, they can gently close. Shoulders are loose. And the belly is full and easy, just letting the belly go. Exhale all your breath. And then inhale. Hold the breath at the top. And exhale slow. Pause at the bottom. Inhale. Pause at the top. Exhale. Pause. Inhale. Pause. Exhale. Pause. Inhale. Pause. Exhale. And one last round, pausing at the bottom. Inhale, filling up with air. Hold. Exhale, slow like a balloon. Let the breath go. Come back to your normal rhythm of breath, not trying to control the breath in any way. Then gently closing your eyes if they weren't already. Bring the palms to touch in front of your heart. Bow your head. Drop your hands. And gently blink the eyes open and come back center. Awesome. We're going to make our way into tabletop. So you can either swing the legs behind you and tap on up onto hands and knees, or you can cross over your crossed legs to get there, however you like. When you get to hands and knees, I want you to just stir your own pot. So just move in a way that feels good to you and shake out that sit that we just did. So maybe you're moving your hips and shoulders in opposite directions. Maybe you're circling the hips back down to the heels. Just taking a second moving in a way that serves us and starts to get out some of the snap, crackle, pops before we start moving in earnest. Might feel nice here to reverse the direction of your fingers. Give the wrists a little stretch. And then eventually starting to slow down whatever you're doing. If you were doing circles, make sure you reverse the motion of your circle. And then eventually making your way back into your tabletop position. So making sure everything is squared up, wrists underneath shoulders, knees underneath hips. Let's take some cat-cow breath. So on your next inhale, drop the belly, look up. And then on your exhale, round the back and tuck the chin into the chest for your cat pose. Inhale, drop the belly, arch the tailbone, look up, let the eyeballs even look up for cow. Exhale, round, tuck the chin, please suck up the middle of the palms. Inhale, cat. Exhaling to cat, taking a few more rounds of cat-cow with your own breath and your own time. Take one more round of cat-cow on your own. Then bringing it back to a neutral spine. Just going to do a little opposite limb stretch. So come off the left knee, and we're on our ball of our left foot. Stretch the heel back, really stretching into that calf. And then place the right hand forward at the top of your mat. And on one inhale, we're just going to lift and extend. Don't worry, we're not going to crunch tonight. And then exhale, set it down. Let's take a round of cat-cow in between sides. Inhale, drop the belly for cow. Exhale, round the back, suck the belly in for cat. Come back to neutral and we'll take the other side. So this time coming onto the ball of the right foot, knee is off the mat. Stretch back into that heel just for a moment. And then extend the left hand forward, maybe to the top of your mat or a little bit further. And then with one inhale, lift up. Extend. And then exhale, place it back down. Good. And one last cat-cow here. Inhale, tailbone arches. Exhale. Yeah. Then bring it back. Nice. All right. We're going to take a little bit of a shoulder stretch here. So a lot of the poses we'll do it tonight is we want to stretch out our shoulders before we do those. So bring the left arm out straight, palm faces down. And then bring that left arm in between the spot between right arm and right wrist. Left palm is facing up now. And lower all the way down onto your left shoulder and left cheek. Now, if you want to tuck your toes here for a little bit better balance, go for it. And to help your balance, you can press down into the mat with that right hand. If you feel pretty balanced as is, though, you could try bringing that right arm around the low back and maybe hooking the right fingertips onto the top of the left thigh. Your right hand was around your back, place it back on the mat. Everybody press into their right hand to rise back up to all fours, and we'll take that other side. So this time, right arm out to your side, palm faces down. And then flip that right palm up to send it through the gap, and bringing right shoulder, right cheek down to the mat. Maybe tucking those toes for a little bit more balance, pressing into that left hand.
You can even move that left hand a little bit further out off the mat if you needed that for stability. If you're feeling pretty good, you can even wrap it around the low back and hook the left fingers onto the top of the right thigh. Wherever that left hand went, bring it back into alignment. Press down into the mat with the left hand to help you lift up. One last round of cat-cow here. And after your cat, come back to a neutral spine. Bring the big toes to touch. Let the knees go as wide as your mat. And then sit back on the heels. And lower the torso down to the mat if it wants to reach for a child's pose. Now, look forward at your hands and tip your fingertips so that your chest and your face are off the mat, and we're looking forward at our hands. We're getting a nice sort of traction-y stretch in the shoulders here. Lower the hands back down, and then walk them over to the left. Feeling a nice stretch in the right side body. And then walk the hands over to the top right of your mat. And then walk the hands back in. Come on up to your tabletop. And from here, we're going to transition to standing. So light tuck of the toes. Lift the knees and the hips up and back to two straight legs. Heels driving down towards the mat. Fingertips spread wide, hands rooting down and forward into the earth, our first downward dog. Maybe take a moment here and bend one knee at a time, starting to stretch into our hamstrings and calves. And then two straight legs. And slowly, with your knees very bent, slowly walk your feet forward towards the hands. When your feet reach your hands, let the knees stay really, really bent. You can really just drape your torso on top of the thighs. You can either leave hands dangling, maybe resting the back of the hands on the mat, or you can even grab opposite elbow and maybe take a little sway. But whatever you're doing, taking a nice forward fold where your neck and your head just relax and let go for a moment. And then when you're ready, not rushing anything, slowly start to roll up. If your elbows were clasped, unclasp them. And then slowly start to roll up, one vertebrae at a time. When you get to straight shoulders, roll back, head comes up last. All right. So we're going to take a little standing side twist to warm up against some of those muscles that are going to help us twist and open our torso. So first, take your mountain pose. Feet are about hips width apart or so. Four corners of the feet rooting down, leg muscles engaged, tailbone tucked, arms resting lightly by our sides. On your next inhale, both arms rise. And then when you exhale, drop the left hand behind you, the right hand in front, and open your torso to the left. Inhale back to center, torso and arms. And exhale, other side. Right arm comes behind you, left in front as you open your torso. Inhale back to center, and we'll take another few of those. Exhale, open left. Inhale, center. Exhale, open right. Inhale, center. Exhale, open left. Inhale, center. Exhale, open right. Inhale, center. Let's take one last one on each side. Exhale, open left. Inhale, center. Last one, last side. Exhale, open right. Inhale, center. And then slowly, with control, lower the arms back down to your side. Take a little eagle arm stretch there. We're not going to do the leg part of eagle like we did in our last practice, but we will do the arms part of it. So bend the arms, palms face each other. Left arm on top of right arm, and you can just leave your backs of hands together, or if you can snake the left forearm around so that your palms touch. Now, if either of these variations are too much, just let your left arm be straight and hug it in with the right hand. Think about pulling the elbows away from you. Think about pulling the elbows up just a little bit, getting a nice stretch in the shoulders. And release. And we'll take the other side. So once more, arms face each other, bend the elbows. This time, right elbow on top of left. Remember, you can either leave the right arm straight, leave backs of palms together, or you can bring the palms to touch. Inhale, take a second, roll the shoulders back. And feel that stretch. Inhale where you are. And exhale, gently release. All right. Let's start to move into our standing flow with some half salutations. As always, lovely to bring link breath with movement here. So taking your mountain pose up the top of the mat. Inhale, your arms rise. Exhale, bend the knees and fold forward. Inhale, hands to the shins, lift halfway, look up with a flat back. Exhale, rebend the knees, refold. Inhale, press the feet into the earth to help you rise to a stand, arms reach, look up. And exhale, hands return, either to your sides or in a prayer position at your chest, your choice. Let's take a couple more of those halves. As you're ready, inhale and the arms rise. Exhale, bend the knees and fold. Inhale, hands to the shins, lift halfway. Exhale, refold. Inhale, we rise. Following the hands with the eyes, maybe a little arch at the top. And exhale, hands return. Last half. Inhale, arms rise. Exhale, bend the knees and fold, torso to thighs. Inhale, lift halfway, flat back. Exhale, refold. And last time, inhale and rise. Exhale, hands return. Nice. Okay. So we're going to move into our crescent series of poses. And you are going to have options here. So if you try the first crescent on each side and you're like, you know what, that really isn't for me, you have the option to just stay in a lunge pose, right? Okay. So let's come to the top of our mat. Taking our mountain pose. Gaze straight ahead. When you're ready, inhale, the arms rise. Exhale, bend the knees and fold. Very easy, very soft. Inhale, hands to the shins, look up halfway. Exhale, right foot takes a step back. We're going to stay here in a lunge for a moment. So you always have this option throughout tonight's practice to just stay here in a lunge. Our front shin is vertical, our front knee is over our front ankle.
and our back leg is straight and strong. So we're really putting a good amount of strength and energy in through the back leg to keep us in this lunge, really driving the heel back. Now, if you find that the floor is too far away to be comfortable for you, remember that you can always grab blocks or books, and you can put them to either side of your front foot and rest your hands on those. So you can bring the floor to you, right? Okay. So we're here in a lunge, in a normal lunge, and we can stay right here. Or you can bring one hand and then the other to the top of the left knee. I want you to, again, think about powering up that back leg, bending that back knee just a little bit so the back knee draws down to the earth, but that back heel is still pushing, driving towards the back of your mat. Now, I don't care so much if this front thigh is really dropped. Your hips don't have to be super low. So if it's more comfortable for you to be sort of up a little bit, totally fine, right? This doesn't have to be at an exact 90-degree angle here. Okay, last part of this. You can leave the hands on your knees, or if you feel like you have that balance, you can lift the arms to either sides of the ears and think about arching just a tiny little back down, not a big arch, just a little bit of an arch in that low back. So your arch really starts with your pubic bone and comes up through the whole torso. Okay, that's enough on that side. Hands down to either side of the front foot, and just step that right foot forward to meet the left. Take a second here. Inhale, bring your hands to your shins, flat back. And then exhale, refold, and step that left leg back so we can do the other side. Now, if you felt on that last one, and we're not going to hold the crescents nearly as long as we did that first one, I promise you. If you felt after that last one like you could use some blocks, or you just want to stay in the lunge, or even if you just want to place that back knee down, totally fine. Remember, this is choose your own adventure. If, though, you felt pretty good, bring one hand and then the other to the knee. Maybe take a second and re-power up that back leg, drawing the knee down to the earth, driving the back heel back. And then if you felt pretty good, the last step is to lift the arms and lift the gaze. Crescent. Good. Exhale, hands down to either side of the front foot. Step the left foot forward. Inhale. Hands to the shins, lift halfway. Exhale, refold. And then really bend the knees here. And slowly roll up to a stand. Good. When you get there, roll the shoulders back. Now, the other thing, you don't have to do this right now. You can just watch for a second if we're going to get our breath back here. The other thing to keep in mind with crescent is that if you step back and you realize that you would have if you realize that you stepped back too far, it's fine to adjust your stance, right? So either to step that back foot back a little bit, or more likely to step it in a little bit. Totally fine to adjust your stance. Similarly, you can bring this front foot, whichever one it is, out to make your stance a little bit wider. That will also give you some more stability here. Okay, so just things to keep in mind with crescent. All right, so let's try a full crescent moon salutation. We are going to skip the vinyasa on this one, though. All right, take our mountain pose, top of the mat. And exhale everything. Let's take a nice cleansing breath there, actually. Take a deep inhale through your nose. Exhale, side out of your mouth. All right. And on your next inhale the arms rise. Exhale, bend the knees and fold. Inhale, hands to the shins, lift halfway. Exhale, refold. Right foot takes a big step back. You can stay here in your lunge, or you can lift up to crescent, either bringing hands to the knees first or straight lifting up. Inhaling crescent or lunge.
And then exhale, hands back down to either side of the front foot. Step this left foot back to meet the right for a downward facing dog. We'll just take a breath or two here. Good. On your next exhale, so inhale where you are. And then exhale, right foot steps forward between the hands. Left foot comes to meet it. Inhale, hands to the shins, lift halfway. Exhale, fold. Inhale, press your feet into the earth to help you rise to a stand. Exhale, hands return. Nice. Let's take the other side. As you're ready, inhale, arms rise. Exhale, bend the knees and fold. Inhale, hands to the shins, lift halfway. Exhale, refold. This time, left foot steps back. We're in a right side lunge. Remember, you can adjust your stance, longer, shorter, wider, narrower, whatever you need to do. Inhale, up to your crescent. And then exhale, hands return. Step the back right foot back to downward facing dog. Breath or two here. Inhale where you are. Exhale, left foot. Then right foot steps forward. Inhale, hands to the shins, lift halfway. Exhale, refold. And then inhale, rise all the way to a stand. Exhale, hands return. Now we're going to move on, but let's just take a little barrel roll right now just to work out the hips a little bit. So step a little bit wider than hips width apart. And just start rolling the hips in circles in one direction. And then rolling in the other direction. A little break before we move on. Okay. And then release it. And return to the front of your mat. We're going to start to build on a little bit to our crescent pose here. Reset your mountain pose. Reset the feet. Lift all 10 toes off the mat and feel those four corners of your feet rooting down before returning the toes. Legs engaged, tailbone tucked, shoulder blades melting down the back. Exhale everything. And then inhale, the arms rise. Exhale, bend the knees and fold forward. Inhale, lift halfway, flat back. Exhale, fold, right foot steps back. We can stay here in the lunge or inhale up to our crescent. Actually going to switch direction real quick so you can see. And then exhale, bring the hands to the hips and pivot this right heel down to the mat. So if you were in a lunge, go ahead and bring your arms up, pivot that back heel down. We're coming into warrior two. So left foot is pointing straight forward, right foot is pointing out towards the side of our mat. Look down at your feet if you need to readjust your stance so that your front heel lines up with your back arch or back heel. Go ahead and readjust. Take a second, try and bring an equal amount of weight into both legs. And then our last piece is the arms. Arms out to the side, parallel with the ground. Gaze is over those left middle fingertips. We'll be here for a few breaths. Inhaling. And on your exhale, straighten that left leg. Walk the back foot in just a step or so. And then reach with the left arm so you can't reach anymore. And then bring that left hand wherever it wants to rest this evening. Chin, ankle, floor, coming into triangle pose. So wherever your left hand is resting, the leg or the mat,
or a block, make sure that it has enough grounding that you can sort of ground down with your left hand enough that the right side of the chest, the right ribs, opens up straight out to the side. So all those ribs that we open beautifully during our intercostal rib massage at the beginning of class, feel all those ribs fanning out here in your beautiful triangle pose. Good. Inhale where you are. Exhale, bring this right hand to the right hip. Look down at your front knee and gently, gently, gently bend into that front knee. Bring both hands to either side of the front foot. Pivot off that back heel so we're back in our lunge. And then bring the back knee down. Front knee back to meet it. Lower all the way down to the mat onto your belly. And then bring the forearms straight out in front of you. We're coming into Sphinx on this first side. So forearms out in front, elbows underneath the shoulders, fingers spread wide, tops of the feet on the earth, rooting down to give you some anchoring down there back at your feet. And then think about pressing your forearms down and back, almost like you could shoot your chest through. And then let that collarbone be wide and take some deep breaths here in your Sphinx pose. Inhale. And then exhale, bring the hands underneath the shoulders. Press back to a tabletop. And then tuck the knees. Tuck the toes. Lift the knees and the hips up and back to your downward facing dog. Now I'll switch my direction. You're good. You stay where you are. Inhale where you are. Exhale, step the right foot forward between the hands. Left foot comes to meet it. Inhale, hands to the shins, come up halfway, flat back. Exhale, fold. And then inhale, arms rise. Exhale, hands return. Great, let's take the other side. As you're ready, inhale, the arms rise. Exhale, bend the knees and fold. Inhale, hands to the shins, flat back. Exhale, refold. Left foot takes a big step back. You can stay in the lunge or inhale up to your crescent pose. And then exhale, pivot that back heel down and open up the torso into your warrior two. If you were in a lunge, just cartwheel the arms up and pivot the back heel down. Meet us in warrior two. Gaze out over the right middle fingertips. Inhaling. And on your exhale, straighten that front leg, step the back foot in just a little bit. Reach, reach, reach towards the front of your mat. Then when you can't reach any further, bring that right arm down somewhere to the leg or the mat, letting the left arm stack and reach towards the ceiling. Your gaze can be up towards your top hand. If that doesn't feel great on your neck, you can just look straight ahead. Good. Inhaling here. On your exhale, gently bend into that front knee as you lower hands to either side of the front foot. Come off that back heel. So we're here in our lunge. And then lower the back knee. Bring the front knee back to meet it. And lower all the way down onto the belly. Now you can take Sphinx again, or you can come into Cobra. So hands underneath the shoulders, elbows hugging in, tops of the feet rooting into the mat. Inhale, peel the chest off the mat. Shoulders melting down the back so we're not all hunched up here in our Cobra. And then exhale, lowering back down to the mat. And taking a moment to sit back on our heels in Child's Pose. And then when you're ready, coming forward to your tabletop, tucking the toes, lifting the knees and hips up and back to downward facing dog. A breath or two here. Inhale in. And on your exhale, left foot steps forward between the hands, right foot follows. Inhale, hands to the shins, lift halfway. Exhale, refold. And then inhale all the way to rise. Exhale. Okay. All right, one last little bit of crescent work. So this is going to be our last couple crescents here. You're probably delighted to hear. Take your mountain pose. Our last little sort of standing flow through here. Inhale, the arms rise. Exhale, fold. Inhale, lift. Hands to the shins, flat back. Exhale, step the right foot back. Once again, stretches, right foot back. Last time, either stay in the lunge or inhale up to your crescent lunge. Exhale, open out into your warrior two, pivoting the right heel down. And then bring the hands to the hips, straighten into this front leg, but instead of heading into triangle, point the left toes so they point the same direction as the right toes. Okay, so taking a second, looking down, making sure that toes and heels are in line with each other. Inhale, get tall. And then exhale, forward bend. You can keep the hands on hips or you can bring hands down to the mat. Try and keep the fingertips in line with your toes or walk the hands back even further. You can even just have your hands on your ankles as well. It's up to you. Do whatever you need to do to make this forward bend, this wide-legged forward bend feel good to you. I always like to release my neck a little bit here by nodding the head yes. And then shaking the head no. If your balance and your legs feel pretty steady here, you can even take the hands and gently interweave them towards the back of your head. Just give yourself like a little gentle, no extra weight and pull down. Nice. Release the hands. And the way that we're going to do this to get to the other side is to pivot. Sorry, I'm just trying to remember which side I'm on here. Pivot towards the back of your mat so that your right foot is in front. Pivot the left heel off the mat. Okay, good. You can stay here in the lunge. So you should be facing the back of your mat now. You can stay here in the lunge, or last time, inhale yourself to crescent. Beautiful, tall torso, strong back leg. Exhale, hands down to either side of your front foot. And we're just going to step the left foot forward to meet the right one. We're not going to do a full vinyasa there. Inhale, hands to the shins, lift halfway. Exhale, fold. Inhale, arms rise. Exhale, hands release. Nice. All right. So just bring yourself down to a seated position on your mat. We're not going to take a fancy transition for that. When you get down onto your mat, bring the soles of your feet together, knees out to the side. If you want, you can take a second to just flutter the knees up and down, maybe release the hips a little bit. Take a second, get really tall. And then you can stay right here, or if you want, you can exhale and gently pad your fingers out and start to fold. Only fold as far as your back is going to stay straight though. And just take a couple breaths. You might feel with each inhale, the crown of your head and your spine extending a little further. With each exhale, maybe folding just a teeny bit more. Good. One more deep breath here in bound angle pose. And then on your exhale, gently walk the hands back in, slowly, gently. And I want you to extend both legs out into a straddle position. It doesn't have to be super wide or anything. Once more, fingertips to the center. Take a minute, sit really tall, pulling the waist out of the hips. And then maybe on your exhale, maybe walking the fingertips forward. Remember, the fold is optional. You can just stay straight. Okay? Try and keep these feet flexed. The toes are pointing back towards you. One more deep inhale here. And then on your exhale, start to walk it back in very gently, very slowly. Don't move the legs just yet. We're still here for a moment longer. So left hand faces palm up on top of your left leg. Inhale, right arm up. And then I want you to exhale. Slowly start to side bend over that left leg. Now, some people here are able to catch their feet. So if you can do that, you can bring the left hand to the inside of the left foot. And if you have that flexibility in your side body, so you can catch the outside of your left foot with your right hand, go for it. This evening, it's not happening for me, so I'm not going to push it. This is still an excellent side body stretch. And your next inhale, come back to center. We'll take the other side. Right palm faces palm up on your right foot. Inhale the left arm up. And then exhale over that right leg. Maybe we catch the inside of the right foot with the right hand. Maybe that left hand can catch the outside of the right foot. But if it doesn't, we're not going to try and force it. Inhale where you are. And exhale, return. Bring the hands underneath your knees and use them to bend the legs up. Send the legs straight out in front of you. Oh, no, not straight out in front of you. Bend your knees so that your feet come to the earth. Reach underneath your left leg. Grab your right ankle. Bring that right leg to the floor so that the right ankle is to the outside of the left glute. And then cross the left foot over. So left foot's on the outside of the right knee. We're coming into a twist. Left hand behind you. Right hand hangs onto the left knee. Inhale, get tall. And then exhale, twist open to the left. Now you can stay right here holding the knee, or if you want a little bit more leverage, you can bring this right elbow on top of the left knee and open up. Deep inhale here. Exhale, bring it back to center, and we'll switch sides. So bringing the left leg down onto the floor, right foot crosses over, right hand behind us, left hand holds onto the right knee. Inhale, get tall, and exhale, twist open to the right. Maybe holding onto the knee, maybe bringing the elbow on top. Good. Inhale where you are. Exhale. Gently return. Okay, now unravel your legs. Send them long on the mat, flexing the feet. Take a second to move your glutes and thighs so that your sits bones come right to the earth. Inhale, get really tall. Lift the arms around the ears. And exhale, fold forward. Bringing the hands wherever they want to rest this evening. And head and neck can just gently relax. They don't have to look out or peer out sharply. Again, thinking here about extending the spine, extending the crown with each inhale. With each exhale, maybe folding a little further. Good. Last couple of breaths here. Deep inhale. And on your exhale, slowly release. Come back to a seat. Bend both knees once more so feet come to the earth. Scooch so that you're sort of seated in the middle of your mat. So we're going to come down to our backs at this point. So bring the arms out straight in front of you. Inhale where you are, and then on your exhale, you're going to almost scoop your pelvis under and roll your back down to the mat. We're just doing a little bit of core work here as we roll down. Nice, and then you're all the way down. Now, leave these knees bent, but walk the heels in closer to your glutes so you can just brush the backs of your ankles with your fingertips. Arms are lying down the mat at our sides. We're going to take a bridge pose. So inhale where you are. And on your exhale, tilt your pelvis back so the low back imprints on the mat. And then press into the feet, press into the shoulders, and lift your hips off the mat. Knees are about hips width apart. Pressing down into the feet to help the hips lift. Pressing down into the backs of the upper arm to help the chest lift. Now, if you feel like you have the room, you can kind of snuggle your arms and your shoulder blades underneath you and clasp your hands underneath your glutes. Couple more breaths here in our bridge pose. Good. Inhaling in our bridge. And then exhale, release the clasp of your hands if they were clasped, and start to roll down one vertebrae at a time. When your pelvis is back on the mat, just take a second here in this position. Knees bent, feet flat, pelvis flat. Just letting the spine neutralize here. All right. And now you can gently bend one knee and then the other into your chest. Maybe take a little rock from side to side. And then separate the knees, grab the outsides of the feet, and separate the knees and legs really, really wide, soles of the feet up towards the ceiling, knees like you could bend them down into your armpits or taking happy baby. And if it feels good, you can rock here from side to side. Your happy little baby. You've finished your yoga practice for the evening. But not yet. We still have 2 important components of our practice left. So release your happy baby, hug the knees into the chest, and then roll over onto one side and use your hands to push yourself up to a seated position. Our 2 last important components of class this evening are our meditation and our final rest pose. So join me in a seated position, and again, take a moment to make this comfortable for you. So roll up your mat, grab your cushion, your blanket. I'm gonna sit up on my meditation cushion. Actually, I'm gonna kneel on mine. When you get to your seated position that feels best for you this evening, make yourself really comfy, and then take a second to get tall. So hands can be resting face down on the thighs, or you can hold the left hand and the right hand in your lap. Whatever hand position that you've decided, take a moment to sit tall, pulling the waist out of the hips, pulling the rib cage out of the waist, and the gaze is straight ahead. Eyes are softly closed, shoulders are loose, and the belly is full and easy. I just want you to bring your awareness to your breath. Now this evening, we're going to take what we call a monkey mind meditation. And the purpose of this one is to show us how quickly the mind can scatter. So you're going to be following the breath, and on each inhale, think rising. Feel the rising of your belly, feel the rising of your chest as you inhale. So thinking rising on our inhale. And on our exhales, we're going to count backwards from 100, one breath at a time. So we think rising on the inhale, 100 on the exhale. Rising on the inhale, 99 on the exhale, and so on. But the key to this meditation is maintaining that mindful focus. So when you feel that your mind starts to wander, and it will, bring it back to the breath and start the countdown over again at 100. So rising on the inhale, counting down on the exhale. When we feel that our concentration has been lost, we get distracted by sounds that we hear around us or sensations in the body, and most of all by the thoughts running through our head. When concentration is lost, bring it back to the count. Rising, 100. I took this great webinar the other day about librarians teaching mindfulness to college students in their libraries. And the facilitator led us on an exercise, a mindfulness exercise to start. And she said this wonderful thing as she told us to bring our awareness back to our breath. She said, there will be thoughts. Of course there will be thoughts. The point of this is not to have thoughts, right? Of course, we're going to have thoughts. So the point is not to empty out your mind and not have thoughts. The point of mindfulness meditation is to be able to see the thoughts that are coming through your mind, note them, acknowledge them, let them go, and bring the awareness back to whatever the object of awareness is, the breath or the body. So as you think rising on the inhale, and as you count down on the exhale, if you find yourself stuck in a loop where you're on 100 again and again and again, as many times when I do this meditation I am, that's okay. Bring your attention and awareness back to the breath. And that is the practice. Now, if you'd like to stay in this meditation for a couple moments longer, I invite you to stay seated. If you would prefer a traditional rest pose to end class and all of your hard work, please feel free at this moment to gently and with a minimum of effort remove whatever you were sitting on and lie all the way back on your mat. Let the limbs splay out and get heavy. Let the head rest. Relax the forehead. Relax the shoulders. Relax the toes. And just let everything go. If you remain seated, stay seated for a moment longer. If you laid all the way back down on your mat, start to make small movements in the fingers and the toes, bringing life back into the body. Stretch the arms and the legs long. And then without rushing, roll over onto one side. Taking a breath here on your side. Use your hands to push yourself up to a seated position. Now everybody can join me, seated. Hands together in front of the heart, thumb touching the breastbone. Thank you all so much for practicing with me this evening. I hope this practice served you. Thank you again. Bow the head, drop the hands, gently blink the eyes open and come back center. All right. Thank you again for joining me, everybody. I'll see you in a couple of weeks for the next class.